Hello and welcome to this channel. Today, we're going to talk about the golden age of piracy, a period of time in history that has captivated our imaginations for centuries. From the infamous Blackbeard to the notorious Captain Kidd, let's explore the fascinating world of piracy. The rise of age. The golden age of piracy was a time in history when piracy was at its height, lasting from the late 17th century to the early 18th century. This was a time when pirates roamed the seas in search of treasure, adventure, and freedom. Many of the pirates during this time started their careers as sailors or privateers, who were authorized by governments to attack enemy ships during times of war. However, due to economic and political instability in their home countries, many of these sailors turned to piracy as a means of making a living. Pirates were drawn to the potential riches that could be found on the high seas, and they operated outside of the law, making them both feared and romanticized. The pirates of the Golden Age were notorious for their exploits and the vast wealth that they accumulated. Some of the most famous pirates of this era include Blackbeard, Captain Kidd, and Bonnie. Blackbeard was a fearsome pirate known for his long black beard and intimidating appearance. Captain Kidd was a former privateer who turned to piracy, and his eventual execution made him one of the most infamous pirates of the time. And Bonnie was one of the few female pirates, known for her fierce fighting spirit and fearless attitude. The rise of piracy during the Golden Age was fueled by the political and economic climate of the time. Many European powers were engaged in ongoing conflicts, and the Caribbean was seen as a strategic location due to its position as a key trade route. This allowed pirates to prey on a wide range of targets, including merchant vessels, warships, and even other pirate ships. Despite the dangers and brutality of life as a pirate, many were attracted to the freedom and potential rewards that it offered. Pirates lived outside of the constraints of society and government, and their democratic system of government meant that they had a say in their own affairs. This made piracy a tempting and alluring prospect for many. Life as a pirate. Life as a pirate was notoriously harsh and difficult. Pirates lived on their ships, which were often small and cramped, and conditions were often unsanitary. Pirates frequently suffered from diseases such as scurvy, which was caused by a lack of fresh fruits and vegetables, and other illnesses that spread quickly in close quarters. Pirates had to endure long voyages on the open sea, which could last for months at a time. They were exposed to harsh weather conditions, including storms, extreme heat, and cold. Pirates were also at constant risk of attack from other ships, including those of other pirates and naval vessels. Despite the challenges, pirates were known for their strict code of conduct, known as the Pirate Code. This code governed everything from dividing treasure to punishment for breaking the rules. Pirates believed in a fair division of spoils, with each crew member receiving an equal share of any treasure that was plundered. Pirates also believed in a democratic system of government, with the captain elected by the crew and decisions made by a vote. Pirates also had their own unique system of justice, with punishments ranging from flogging to marooning. Marooning was a particularly harsh punishment, where a crew member would be left on a deserted island with minimal supplies and no means of escape. This punishment was reserved for serious offenses such as theft or mutiny. Despite the dangers and hardships of life as a pirate, many were drawn to the allure of adventure and the potential for great wealth. Targets and tactics. Pirates during the Golden Age targeted any ship that was valuable, including merchant vessels, warships, and even other pirate ships. They would often roam the seas in search of vulnerable targets, looking for ships that were richly laden with valuable goods such as gold, silver, spices, and textiles. Once they identified a target, pirates used a variety of tactics to capture it. One common tactic was the surprise attack. Pirates would often approach their targets stealthily, using the cover of darkness to get close to the ship without being detected. Once they were in position, they would launch a surprise attack, overwhelming the crew and taking control of the ship. Another tactic was the boarding action. Pirates would use grappling hooks to climb aboard the target ship and engage in hand-to-hand combat with the crew. Pirates were often well armed, with swords, muskets, and pistols, giving them an advantage in close combat. Deception was also a common tactic used by pirates. They would often fly a false flag to lure their targets into a false sense of security before launching an attack. They would also pretend to be friendly or in distress, luring their victims into a trap before attacking. To intimidate their victims and make them surrender without a fight, pirates often used the Jolly Roger flag. This distinctive black flag with a skull and crossbones symbolized the pirates' lawless and ruthless nature. It was a warning to their victims that if they did not surrender immediately, they would face a brutal and violent attack. Overall, pirates used a combination of tactics to capture their prey, ranging from surprise attacks and boarding actions to deception and intimidation. They were resourceful and adaptable, always looking for new ways to outsmart their targets and maximize their loot. Famous battles and raids. During the golden age of piracy, there were many famous battles and raids that took place on the high seas. These events were often marked by violence and bloodshed, with both pirates and their victims fighting to the death. One of the most famous battles of the golden age of piracy was Blackbeard's blockade of Charleston in 1718. Blackbeard, also known as Edward Teach, was one of the most notorious pirates of his time. He blockaded the port of Charleston, South Carolina, for several days, demanding that the city provide him with medicine and other supplies. The standoff ended when Blackbeard was eventually killed in battle with British naval forces. Another famous raid was Captain Kidd's attack on the Quebec Merchant in 1698. Captain Kidd was a sailor-turned-pirate who was eventually captured and executed for his crimes. However, he is best remembered for his attack on the Quebec Merchant, a ship belonging to a wealthy Indian merchant. Kidd seized the ship and its valuable cargo, which included gold, silver, and jewels. In 1720, Bonnie and Mary Red captured a British warship off the coast of Jamaica. Bonnie and Red were both female pirates who dressed as men to blend in with the crew. They were known for their ferocity and willingness to engage in combat. During the battle, the British crew was taken by surprise and quickly overwhelmed. Bonnie and Red captured the ship and its valuable cargo. These battles and raids were not uncommon during the golden age of piracy. Pirates often targeted ships that were richly laden with valuable cargo, and they were not afraid to use violence to get what they wanted. The battles and raids of this period are a testament to the lawlessness and brutality of the pirate lifestyle. The end of the age of piracy. The end of the golden age of piracy marked the decline of piracy as a major threat to maritime trade. The early 18th century saw increased naval patrols and the decline of piracy-friendly colonies in the Caribbean, which made it more difficult for pirates to operate freely. The end of piracy was also helped by the growth of international trade, which led to more cooperation among nations to combat piracy. One of the key factors in the end of the golden age of piracy was the increased naval presence in the Caribbean. European nations, especially Britain, began to invest more resources into protecting their trade routes from pirate attacks. This included increased patrols of the seas and the establishment of naval bases in the region. These measures made it more difficult for pirates to operate without being detected and captured. In addition to increased naval patrols, the decline of piracy-friendly colonies in the Caribbean also played a role in the end of the Golden Age. Many of the islands that had previously provided safe havens for pirates, such as Nassau and the Bahamas, were taken over by European powers and became more regulated. This made it more difficult for pirates to find places to rest and resupply, which in turn made it more difficult for them to continue their operations. The decline of piracy was also helped by the capture and execution of many notorious pirates. Blackbeard, Captain Kidd, and Calico Jack were all captured and executed for their crimes, which served as a warning to other pirates that their days were numbered. The fear of capture and execution, along with the increased naval patrols and declining pirate-friendly colonies, led many pirates to give up the pirate life and seek other means of employment. The impact of the Golden Age of piracy in our days. The Golden Age of piracy had a significant impact on history and has left a lasting impression on popular culture. In modern times, the legacy of piracy continues to influence many areas of society. One of the most significant impacts of the Golden Age of piracy is on the maritime industry. Pirates during this era disrupted international trade and caused significant economic losses for many nations. This led to increased security measures and the development of better naval technologies to protect ships and crew. Today, the maritime industry continues to employ advanced security measures to prevent piracy and protect valuable cargo. The romanticized image of pirates has also had a significant impact on popular culture. Pirates are often portrayed as swashbuckling adventurers, with their own code of conduct and a sense of freedom that has inspired many people. This image of piracy has been portrayed in countless books, movies, and TV shows, and has become a popular theme for video games and amusement park attractions. The legacy of piracy also continues to impact tourism in many regions. Caribbean countries, such as the Bahamas and Jamaica, have capitalized on their pirate history to attract tourists interested in exploring the history and culture of the golden age of piracy. Many of these countries have built pirate-themed attractions, such as museums and replica pirate ships, to attract visitors and boost tourism. In conclusion, the golden age of piracy has had a significant impact on history and continues to influence many areas of modern society. The impact of piracy on the maritime industry, the romanticized image of pirates, and the impact on tourism are just a few examples of how the legacy of piracy continues to shape our world today.